But at the moment, I want to go around the continent and talk to entrepreneurs. I want to know what they are doing. I also want to connect them to other entrepreneurs that are doing the similar things that they are doing
in other parts of
in
Africa.
other parts of Africa.
Mm.
I want to be able to give them exposure so that if an entrepreneur is sitting somewhere and he has a book that he is writing, but he doesn't know how to write it, there is
Hello and welcome to another brilliant episode of Mohobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. As always, we bring you the best and the brightest from across the continent and actually from across the world. And you'll soon find out why I'm so super excited. My guest is from a company called Unique to Africa. His name is Elvis Ndimba. And you'll find out. It won't take you long to know why I'm so excited. But let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Can you strike that subscribe button, please? We need it. We need you guys. You underestimate your importance. As I said, I found out only 2/3 of you have subscribed, and you guys are costing us in terms of the algorithms there. Just hit that subscribe button. We're going to 100K, man. We're going to 100K, and we can only do that with your help. And then, of course, I'm asking you to please consider buying my book. It's only $3.99. It's called MOMP Nuggets of Grit. I share my story. There's a chapter when I talk about this podcast, which has now been running for almost 5 years. There's a chapter where I talk about my childhood. There's a chapter where I define my entrepreneurial journey. I don't want to spoil it for you. Get the book. It's only $3.99. If you need to have it couriered to somewhere you are in some part of the world, we can arrange that. You only need to call my office during working hours, which is +267 397 1368 397 1368. That's a number for the office. Ask to talk to my PA and she'll arrange for the book to be sent to you. We'll give you an account to pay into, and we'll tell you how much the courier cost is wherever you are in the world, and the book will be with you in no time. But do hit that subscribe button. My guest, welcome, Mr. Elvis Ndimba.
Thank you so much for having me.
You see how excited I am to have you?
It is a pleasure to be here. It's not easy to just arrive in a country and meet someone like you and have this audience that I'm having.
Okay.
It takes a lot.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Start with the name, the academic background, in terms of, tertiary especially. Tell us where you went.
Okay. My name is Elvis. Even though I would prefer people to call me Ndimba, because that it connects me to my ancestral roots. Ndimba is my surname, and I grew up with that surname. So I am connected to that surname. I was born and raised in Cameroon. That will be in West Africa. But I've lived more than half of my life in Cape Town in South Africa. I've got a family there. I'm a father of 4, and when it comes to education, I hold a Bachelor of Arts degree in communication. So I have always wanted to.
From which university?
From University of Chang. It's a university in Cameroon. Chang. It's called Chang. It's spelled DSCHANG.
Oh, sounds Chinese.
Yes, I know. Yeah. It could be Chinese, but it's actually very cultural. It comes from a province in Cameroon that is French speaking. So it's in the French-speaking area of Cameroon. To be honest, I don't know what it means, but I was in that university for 3 years, where I obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree. So I later on moved to South Africa, where I did a whole lot of different courses here and there, but then worked for Vodacom South Africa for, I can't remember, 2 years. And then I moved to MTN South Africa, where I worked for about 3 to 5 years. I did work there for quite a while, where I left a whole lot of different footprints until I realized that this was not for me. Then I moved from there to Saudi Arabia, where I worked in Riyadh. I was all over Saudi Arabia. I was in Jeddah, I was in Dammam, I was in small towns. I was a town close to Iraq. I was all over Saudi Arabia because you get pushed from different places. So in total, I was in the Middle East for about 9 years. So I was all over the place. I was in Saudi.
When was this?
This was, I can remember this clearly because this is when I resigned from MTN. This was in 2010.
Yeah.
And I was there for about
9 years, you said.
9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Because when I left Saudi Arabia, I then moved to Oman. I was in Oman for about 2 years.
Oman is a kingdom as well.
It is a kingdom, yes. Is it Kingdom of Oman? I can't remember, but yeah, it's most of the Arab countries are mostly kingdoms. So I moved from until my son. I think it was his 10th birthday. I can't remember clearly. I asked him what he would like for his birthday present, and he said, "What about you? Come home."
Yeah.
So I decided from there, okay. Let me think about this. But it didn't take long after that. I don't think it even took 3 months. And
and you're on a plane back home.
And I was on a plane back home.
As in South Africa or as in Malawi? In Cameroon?
Cameroon.
Okay.
I'm sorry, South Africa. Because now home will always be Cameroon, right? Because that is where my umbilical cord is buried.
Yeah.
But South Africa is where my children are. That's where my wife is. So somehow I owe an allegiance to South Africa and to Cape Town in particular, because I always, if I'm going anywhere, I have to pass there first.
Yeah.
So I remember even when my father passed away.
Great place, Cape Town, huh? I was
it
only
is.
there about a month ago.
No, Cape Town is a beautiful.
V&A, waterfront.
I'm sure you spent a lot of money there.
My favorite place.
Yeah.
But we did get to see all of it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my first trip. It's a beautiful place.
Right. No, it is a beautiful city.
So what then you went back to Cape Town. What were you doing there?
Well, I went back to Cape Town, and I came back to Cape Town with quite a heavy amount of money after working overseas for about.
You're paid in US dollars.
Correct. Well, they will calculate it in US dollars. So your salary is presented to you in US dollars. However, the money that is transferred to your bank account is actually in Saudi riyals or Omani riyals. And then that money, when you convert it to South African rand, it becomes a huge amount of money. So for 9-10 years that I was there, I was able to accumulate quite a huge amount of money. So when I got back home, I was now kind of unemployed. I didn't have a job, so I just monitored the trends of what was happening in South Africa at the time. And one of the things that actually...
This is around 2020 when you went back.
That's correct, yeah. 2020, 2021. But one of the things that actually drew my attention at the time was the e-hailing business, which would be the Uber, the in-drivers, and the Bolt. So I got into the business at the time because I said to my wife, this seemed to be the only area where we can actually excel in at the moment, or something that can actually bring back good returns.
Did it require for you to develop an app?
I didn't, but that is something we can speak about at a later stage. I actually, eventually, after spending 3 years running the business, I did come up with an app called Iranize. Iranize is an app that could allow you to request for anything at any time from anywhere.
Even beyond transportation.
Even beyond transportation. So you could sit at your home and you feel like today you don't want to cut your hair yourself or do your nails. And you just go on Iranize and you request.
Is it still working?
I just got a notification yesterday from Google Play telling me that my subscription has expired, and they were asking me to renew it. But the app itself is no longer functional because it died with COVID. So no.
So let me backtrack a little bit. So you realize this is the only business you can run. What did it take to get started, and what take us through those experiences?
It didn't take a lot. We looked at the trends. So the first thing I did was I spoke to a lot of drivers, and I wanted to understand some of the challenges that we were going through as Uber, as Bolt drivers. And the one big challenge they had was um, reaching the target that the car owners were asking for. So because the target was at that time was about 2,500 to 3,000 rand at the time. So I I spoke to a lot of them, maybe 100 of them, and all of them had that one problem. They were unable to meet up with the target. And then I spoke to a lot of car owners. Their problem was the drivers being very irresponsible with the cars. When you don't sweat for something, you don't care how you manage it. And so these owners, they will give the cars to the drivers, and they will ask them to pay a certain amount every week. And the owners, their biggest problem was not only did the drivers not pay the target at the end of every week, they were also damaging the cars.
Oh no.
So I sat down with my wife and we looked for all the loopholes based on the findings that I made. And we realized that both owners and drivers were having a problem. And we said, why don't we manage the problems from both drivers and owners? And then we started a company and we decided to bring owners and drivers together. So owners who were struggling to get good drivers could bring their cars on our platform, and drivers who were struggling to get owners to run or to give them cars will also come on our platform. So we brought both of them together. We would agree with the owner that we'll pay you a certain amount of money at every week, and we'll tell the driver how much money to pay us every week. We had a bulletproof system where drivers that will come to us, we will ask them to pay a certain deposit. Now, this deposit will cover for insurance in case the cars were in an accident, because the owners were complaining about drivers damaging the cars. So they will pay a certain deposit that will cover for insurance excesses in case the car got into an accident. But also, if they didn't reach their target and they were not in an accident, we will get a certain portion of what the target that they didn't make, and we'll cover it. But you only had a window period of 2 weeks. Only if you don't cover that money that we took from the excess to pay your actual target, then you're fired. You can go and look for a different car. So this kind of worked, and it was very successful at the time. So yeah, that's the business that we run.
That's the background, yeah.
Yeah.
And how many vehicles and drivers were affiliated or involved in that enterprise?
It was a lot. Of the book, I can say about 189 cars were on the road. But there was a point where we had over 200 or 250 cars that were running on the road. It's a nightmare. But you
Throughout
smile.
Cape Town, or even throughout the whole of Western Cape?
We were just running in the Western Cape. I
Western
remember
Cape or Cape Town only?
in Cape Town.
Yeah.
We were only running in Cape Town. Look,
because Western Cape is vast.
it's very vast. So we were running in Cape Town at the time. I remember one time we decided to expand. We went to Port Elizabeth. We wanted to open a branch in Port Elizabeth and East London.
Yeah.
Because they're not so far apart from each other.
Yeah.
But it was quite slow. So we decided to shut down operations.
We'll come back and talk about business just now. But you said you are from Cameroon. And when you talk Cameroon, two things come to mind: the division between English speaking and French speaking, and the tension around that.
Yeah.
What is the story there, and has it been sorted out?
This is a very sensitive topic. And look, Botswana is a very democratic country. South Africa is way democratic,
Mm.
and I am very thankful for being a naturalized citizen of South Africa,
Yeah.
because not only does it allow me to travel the world,
Mm.
um, but it also allows me to speak as
Mm.
freely as I was born to speak.
Yes.
Um, to express my dissatisfaction if I'm not happy,
Mm.
but also to show how happy I am
Mm.
when I feel like I want to be happy and say it to
Wow.
people.
Mm.
The problem in Cameroon is divided into two sections based on our colonial history.
Mm.
You had this French-speaking Cameroon, which was colonized by France.
Mm.
I wouldn't say was colonized because it's still very much colonized by France.
Mm.
Um,
By
they
reason of that arrangement where
yes.
money is taken to Paris.
Remember,
Yeah.
remember a group of nutheads came all the way from Europe,
Mm.
and they decided they could partition Africa in a conference called the Berlin Conference.
Yes. Yes.
And they chose that you guys are one, but we can split you.
Mm.
And then they split Cameroon into two. So we had the French, we had the English. I come
Mm.
from the English-speaking section of Cameroon, which is
Mm.
the one that is suffering the almost genocide that you see happening there today. Very quiet though, but it is happening.
Oh no.
So the problem, if you allow me, is still ongoing,
Mm-hmm.
which has, like I said, it's a very sensitive topic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's still there. The English speaking Cameroonians do not have freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have they don't have freedom of education.
That's a second language. What, doesn't the mother tongue unite you somehow? Because English and French are second languages.
That's correct.
Mm.
I am not very versed. Look, if you allow me, Cameroon, I'm a historian
Mm.
actually.
Mm.
So I know a lot about African history, except Botswana history
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm learning now.
Yeah.
But Cameroon has over 300 different languages.
Oh, I didn't know.
Could be 200, 266. I know Nigeria has about 300 and something.
Mm.
So Cameroon should have over 200 languages,
And what's the
native
population, by
languages.
the way?
Oof.
Plus minus?
Plus minus 20 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Around the neighborhood of 20 million.
Mm.
I could be very, very wrong, but I
Yeah.
think it stands around that
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we have all those different languages that show our different backgrounds, where we
Okay.
come from. For example, if you go to the northwest province of Cameroon, where I come from, even there you still find that we have pockets of languages in different
Okay.
areas. We have Noni, which is the language that I speak. It's a small
Yeah.
village that also has sub villages,
Oh.
about 7 kingdoms
Oh.
or
Okay.
chiefdoms,
Mm.
with about 11 chiefs or kings that
Sounds
rule the
very
area.
interesting. I'll probably have to call you back just on the history side, just to
Right,
discuss the history.
right.
Another thing that we often hear about Cameroon
Yes,
is a man called Nganu.
Nganu.
Nganu, who is a wrestler of some sort, and he
Yes,
turned into a boxer,
right.
and nearly became the world champion recently when he knocked out certain Fury
Yes,
in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia.
right.
Have you met him? I know this is a silly question.
Yes.
By any chance, since you are in the traveling space, and what do you think of him?
Look, I give him his flowers while he's still alive. I've never met him.
Mm.
He also comes from a French-speaking province in Cameroon,
Mm.
and he comes from hardship,
Mm.
extreme hardship.
Mm.
From what I've read, and I don't know, this time you can read anything from the internet.
Yeah. No,
From
from
what
the
I've
interviews that he's made.
yes,
Yeah.
because I don't really follow sports, especially boxing.
Mm.
I have never actually listened to him. I see snippets of his video on Snapchat, on TikTok, on
Yeah.
Facebook, but I've never really followed him. Not because I have anything against him. I'm so proud of his achievement.
He's a martial artist of note. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a world champion and
Cor-
heavyweight champion
Correct.
of this circle one. What do you call it? I forgot what it's called. Yeah.
Exactly. I have no idea. I know
Yeah.
when he was going to play in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
because it was a big hype.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
decided, oh, let me check this thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, like every other African, he comes from hardship,
Yeah.
and I know that he almost traveled by route from Cameroon
No,
to.
that's what I heard.
Yes.
Through the desert, through the water,
Correct.
and he was nearly shot, and all sorts of stories.
Yes.
But
So
we are very proud of him. He's now apparently being being coached by Mike Tyson.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he actually reminds me of this other guy from Zimbabwe. I don't know his name. I just see those things on Facebook.
Yeah.
He also comes from a very poor background, but Dwayne Johnson actually
Yeah.
uplifted him. The American star.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. That was
So
incredible.
those things are. I wish that those talents were identified by Africans, because I am a Pan-Africanist. In sweat and in blood.
Yeah, yeah.
I stand for everything African. I promote Africa. And I wish that Africans can identify those talents in Africa and actually push them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they will. All right, let's now move to business now. What happened to the Uber type business, and what is your current business?
Well, what happened to the Uber business? The business, because of COVID, we had a lockdown in South Africa for about 6 months. I am sure you heard about it.
Yes.
So there was no movement of cars. All these cars were locked in the warehouse. I had loans flying over from left to right. I had money that I owed people that I had to pay back, and it just became a nightmare, not just for me, for my family. And it was very traumatizing, and that is when you even realize that the people that are close to you are not really close to you, right? They are there in good times,
Yeah,
and
only.
when things get rough. But to be honest, these things, they help to shape you. Not everyone that comes close to you, especially, and we need to take note of that, because when you have means, do not listen to people that come and praise you and tell you how good you're doing, and they are there for their own benefit. But to move away from that and respond to your question, COVID happened, and it handicapped a lot of business. I was completely incapacitated. I moved from an upper class neighborhood to an area where it looks. I used to wake up in the morning and I used to think that I was living in a cemetery, because that is how bad I hated where I was living.
You had to scale down.
Yes, I had to scale down on everything. Where my kids went to school, I think that is just about the only thing I couldn't compromise. But I had some of my kids not go to school for a whole year.
Was it because the banks and other people you owed through the Uber business were now bearing down on you and repossessing the assets? What happened?
I lost everything. It was the banks. It was even today as I speak, the banks are still after me. And the moment they watch this interview, they will think that I have a healthy bank balance. They will still come. I lost everything.
They will come to this part and know that
Yes.
you're still recovering.
Yes, I slept on the streets in Malmesbury. I'm talking about streets.
Yeah.
People in Malmesbury will attest to what I'm saying. On the streets for about 3 weeks. And there is a lady.
Where was the rest of the family?
They were somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's enough, that's enough.
When you wake up in the morning and your child asks you for bread and you can't provide, and the power goes off, not because it's load shedding as we have in South Africa, but because the units are out and you need to buy, and then the tap runs out, and then the kid has to go to school in the morning and he can't.
Oh no.
And you just sit there and you go like, what is happening? I just took my bag and I said to my wife, I'm better on the street. Whatever 100 rand I make on the street, I'll send it back to you guys home. That is how I ended up in a small town called Malmesbury. And while I was there, I sat with the street people. I was doing videos from my phone, and we were laughing every night. And then this lady came to me and she said, look, brother, it gets very tough in the beginning, but I need to get you used card boxes so you can have your own space somewhere there. And when the moment she said that, I thought to myself, so you are implying that I've become a street person? I woke up that morning, I packed my bags,
Yeah.
and my bags were still in an Airbnb that I was renting. I left the Airbnb and I told them that I was going to get my credit card that I forgot in a bar. I was lying. I just didn't want them to put my stuff on the street.
Yeah, yeah.
And I left. I left the bag there for about 3 weeks. So, but when that old lady said the beginning is difficult,
What she implied is that you'll get used to.
I will get
this
used to sleeping on.
environment.
Yeah, I will get used to the environment.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't intend to get used to that.
I
I
understand.
picked up my bag that day and I said goodbye. But in that period, I had a business as well that was doing fairly well. It was an online business. That is how I sustained my family with bread, with milk, with electricity,
Basics, yeah.
you know, all the basic stuff. I had an online business called Iranize, not the app, right? So clients would order food, cheese, pizza bases, because that's my principal business.
No.
I supply cheese, a very good quality cheese, by
Oh,
the way,
thank
which I'm looking to bring to Botswana now.
Wow.
And pizza bases. So I supply pizza bases to hotels, to restaurants, to sport clubs. I'm sure if Conrad is listening to this advert from Quebec Cricket Club, and also
It's a free advert.
yes, this is a free advert for you. He makes very good pizza as well.
Yeah.
And also Milnerton Aquatic Club. These are my two biggest clients. So that time I was living, I was sustaining my family on that. But it got to a point where my wife's father passed away.
Oh. So
Yeah, and
during COVID.
all our policies, not during COVID, just after COVID, but COVID had already left its mark.
Yeah, yeah.
So my wife's father passed away, and we had lost all our funeral policies had lapsed. And we were sitting there thinking, how do we bury this old man? You know, we are Africans. We need to give our parents a dignified burial. And there was this guy that was looking, he had been wanting to buy this business for a while. And I picked up my phone that morning and I called him. I said, hey, what's your offer? I'm selling this business.
He had been looking for it for a year or so.
Yes. And we have been going back and forth, especially with regards to price and stuff. So he said, look, this is my offer. So I said, it's good. You can come. I just wanted to go and bury my wife's father,
I
because
hope
we
he
didn't.
was clearing all the debts.
You can never clear all those debts.
Yeah.
But I did manage to make some good arrangements. I made some payments and stuff like that. But I think my kids will take care of my debts when I pass. I do have a few things in place.
Yeah.
If they're unable to, they can sell them. They can do whatever they want to do. And my family has been very supportive. My younger sister, my younger brother, my mom, and my other brothers, morally as well.
Yeah.
My sister, my brother, very financially, they've been supporting me. I mortgaged a house, a property of mine in Cameroon, just to pay off debts.
Yeah,
you know, I'd never asked about it again. What happened to it? I called my sister one time and I said, "Look, I've started something unique to Africa. Can you sell me this property?" He said, "Did you ask for money 2 months ago? You said we must mortgage this."
Yeah.
So I said, "I know you didn't sell it. Just send me money." And she did. You know?
Yeah. That's a good relationship.
Yeah, no, we have a solid relationship, I
Yeah,
have to say. Yeah.
All right. So you've covered a lot of ground there, but what did you say? Because my book is called Nuggets of Grit,
Yes.
and to me, to have survived this episode, you need a fair amount of grit.
Yes.
Where did you get that grit? What is the source of it? Is it faith? Where does it come from? What sustained you?
I'm gonna be honest and say I was born to fight. I don't give up. And there is one thing that I lean on every day, and that is hope. My mom will possibly crucify me for saying this. I'm not very religious. I was born very, very Catholic, into a very Catholic family.
Mm.
Um, when my father passed away, I realized from his will that he wanted me to construct a church window,
Mm-hmm.
that was broken in my village. I read it in his will.
Mm.
And when I was doing the eulogy, when he passed away, the bishop was sitting there, and I said, I'm not going to do the window because the Catholic Church has a lot of money.
Mm.
They can do it. Um, but I draw strength from my father. The people in my community that know him, they know that he was a man of faith,
Mm-hmm.
but also what he left his children, and I'm not talking material, the wisdom that he left with us
Mm.
is something that when we are in a very dark place, it's difficult for us to give up because we always go back there to go and tap something from.
Mm-hmm.
My sister would always even remind me, like, this is what Shane Dimba would do. That's my father.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he would do when you're in a situation like this. You
I
don't.
think you should have put that window. Just thinking about it, can you go against the will of your dad?
Well, I have been to his grave,
Mm.
his tombstone, couple of times,
Mm.
and I've told him that I will buy you a bottle of whiskey, not the window. And I'm sure he is happy where he is.
Yeah, yeah.
He loved his beer, he loved his whiskey. But
Yeah.
look, the Catholic Church has a lot of money.
Mm.
Repairing that window for them is just like, I would rather sacrifice to pay
Mm.
school fees for a child that is
Mm.
suffering than
No, that
to.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you say are your biggest triumphs or successes in business? And would you want to share with the viewers about that?
That would be. I don't really want to go as far as saying successes
Mm.
because I don't know if I've registered any.
Mm.
I mean, I did leave a very indelible print,
Mm.
um, with the e-hailing business, the one with the fleet,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that even people don't say it. They they saw that we did something that they couldn't do.
Mm.
Um, I mean, at that time when we were running it, I don't think there was any fleet that was larger than what we had in the Western Cape.
Wow. Wow.
People that went to then taxify offices, they
Mm.
were referred to us
Mm.
if they were looking for drivers or were looking for cars.
Mm.
Um, so that was huge,
Mm.
and I think it was the system that we had in place. Like I said, it was bulletproof.
Yeah.
It had a lot of it had
Challenges.
its own challenges,
Mm.
but we overcame them.
Mm.
We had a solid relationship with the owners. We had a solid relationship with the. Of course, we pissed off a lot of people, which
Mm.
is normal. And some of the people we pissed off, they look. We sometimes we don't want the people that are close to us to grow.
Mm.
You know, we Africans, and we have to acknowledge it.
Sometimes, yeah.
You get people that will subscribe to your channel, and the moment they realize you have 300 subscribers, they go in and unsubscribe.
Mm.
For a subscription they're not paying for.
Mm.
Right? So that's Africans, but we accept it. It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
We still keep it going, and they're still our brothers, they're still
Mm.
our sisters,
Mm.
and they will ghost you to watch your WhatsApp status,
Mm.
and then they'll take screenshots and send it to another friend that will forward it back to you.
Yeah.
You know, just to say, can you see what Elvis is doing? He's in
Yeah.
Namibia today.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then someone takes it and forwards it. So
Mm.
for me, it was the biggest thing when it comes to success is not going above your head.
Mm.
Is to have a vision. My wife is a very strong
Mm.
Xhosa woman. I don't know if you know about the Xhosas in South Africa.
I know nominally that they're one of the largest in terms of numbers.
Yes,
Tribes.
and my wife, she's a very strong woman
Mm.
in our space. She plays a very big role in what we do. She can tell you what is a risk and what is not a risk.
Mm.
And even if it's a risk, what should we avoid and all that. So she has
So
been
it
very
sounds to me that's your
instrumental.
biggest success and triumph. You chose well. You married well.
I will be married for 20 years on the 18th of April,
Congratulations.
18th of March,
Mm,
next month.
mm,
And so that should say a lot. I am
mm.
not there um, under duress. I am I am there because I have chosen this woman.
Yeah.
Um, we have our fights like every other couple,
Mm,
but our positive achievements, our good achievements,
mm,
they way outweigh the negative side of it. So she has been part of this journey. She is my go-to person.
mm,
As a matter of fact, today I sent her a WhatsApp and I said, "You are my pillar."
mm.
Because I woke up today very depressed. I told you about my friend. I took him to a mental hospital today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Lobatse today
You had
to
a
drop him
friend.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not well.
yeah, he had a mental breakdown, so I had to drive all the way to Lobatse
Yeah.
yesterday to drop him off.
Mm,
And my wife said to me, "God placed you in Botswana to see that this guy is sick and to give him help."
yeah.
She says,
You had to get a what is it? A detention warrant.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
for the hospital to admit him.
Okay.
So my wife said, "Imagine if you were not there, this guy was going to actually end up on the street." So she says, "Take the day off, relax, calm down. Tomorrow is another day."
Yeah.
So that's how I got myself again together.
Yeah. All right. So basically, after the Uber business, you started another business beyond the cheese business. The cheese business is still running, right?
The cheese business is still running.
Yeah, if I could call it that. But
Yes.
so, first of all, the cheese business is still the backbone, right?
Um.
Of your current business activities and travels.
Yes. So basically, that sustains what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Um. It's not in a large scale as it used to be,
Mm.
because this is my son's business now.
Yeah.
Um,
It's in his name.
yeah, remember I sold the business,
Yeah.
right? So, and I have a restraint of trade from doing that business.
Yeah.
So my son actually does the business, and
No, I thought you sold the taxi business or the Uber business.
no, the taxi business closed down.
Oh, completely.
The food business online
Mm-hmm.
was sold.
It's the one that was sold.
Yes, but my son had already been engaged in all this
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing.
So the
So
Uber business, you had to sell the assets.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah, but
I had to.
it's closed now.
It's closed now. It's
Okay.
closed, and I I think I just saw today that Uber launched its operation in Botswana yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, Bolt. I read
Bold,
it in the
sorry.
news today.
Yeah.
So they started operating in Botswana yesterday.
Mm.
I think for entrepreneurs in Botswana, they should what is the word? When you copy something, it's another English word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You copy it or you create your own.
yeah. They should duplicate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
basically
Duplicate.
duplicate what I did
Mm.
in South Africa, in Botswana, where they'll
Because
merge these two people together,
mm,
uh, car owners and drivers,
mm,
and actually manage it, because it's a lot of stress
mm.
for car owners. Imagine you just buy a brand new car, and this guy just walks up to you and say, "I'm a driver," because
Yeah.
he has a driver's
That's why I
license.
want to ask you this question. What was the trick? What is the secret sauce? What is the secret of your success in running that setup?
Um, it's consistency with the drivers. The
Mm-hmm.
drivers are the biggest headache in the business.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a system in place um, and you don't compromise the system that you've put in place.
Yes.
For example, you say your target is whatever, 300 pull a week,
Mm.
and a driver comes in today and says, "My father passed away, I couldn't make the target," and then you forgive him and then take it to the following week. Tomorrow he forgets that his father passed away last week and his father passes away again this week.
Oh,
I
okay.
had drivers who lost their parents, their biological fathers, 5 times in 3 weeks
Yeah.
because they didn't want to pay target.
Mm.
They'll come this week, "I lost my dad," then they forget. They come next week, "I couldn't pay target because I lost my dad." Hey, how many dads did you have?
Yeah.
Oh no, in Africa we call uncle's dad because you caught him out.
Yeah, yeah.
So number one, security. Botswana is not so big as Cape Town,
Mm.
but people can disappear with cars.
Mm.
Drivers can go off the grid, and you will not find them while they're doing private trips.
How do you then monitor their movements?
You have to have a tracker on the car. Um, Sometimes you need to have a massive or different monitors in your office where you see at every position where they are. Of course, you don't run those things yourself. You get people to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you need to have a fixed arrangement with tracking companies that will tell you when they cross a certain radius. So if you don't want your car to go as far as Lobatse, the tracking company will tell you when it crosses that certain area.
Yeah.
So you'll get an alarm that will trigger and say, hey, this guy's here. We had drivers that would take a car and go from Cape Town to East London. And if the tracker had a glitch and you don't pick that up, you'll find the car in East London. That trip alone, he makes something close to 6,000 Rand. He still pays you the same amount as Target, but the car is wearing out. So you need to have those things in place. You need to have a tracker. You need to have security people that would be able to go and retrieve those cars when the driver says, I'm not coming, you can come and get your car. And sometimes you go to get that car, he's sitting with a bunch of thugs that could harm you. But then you get thugs but now these are anti-thugs. They will fight against whatever system he has in place.
Yeah.
So when you have, and also very important, the deposit, a lot of them will complain about not being able to pay deposit.
What deposit is that?
So you remember they have a target of 2,500 to pay every week. Now you tell the driver, instead of you paying that 2,500 at the end of the week, you pay me in the beginning. That money is a deposit. But then you don't make it 2,500. You make
security deposit.
It's a security deposit. So when they decide, oh, I'm done, you have something to fall back to. If that car is in an accident and the insurance wants an excess fee, you have that money to pay.
Yes.
And the driver, replaces that money if he has to continue. If he doesn't continue, you lose nothing because you've paid insurance, not from your pocket.
Yeah.
So those things need to be in place because remember, Bolt and in-driver, they don't care if your car is in an accident. If your car is damaged, there is a next guy that will put the car in. So they don't worry about your car. Yeah, they don't cover that.
That's good. How do you cover the insurance aspect?
The insurance aspect?
Yeah.
Okay, so in I don't know how it works in Botswana, but there is insurance for those. Remember, insurance sometimes will cover the driver and also passengers. They call it passenger liability.
Yes.
So some insurance will not accept to insure cars that are on e-hailing platform. I don't know, maybe there was a general discussion amongst them because these drivers used to be very, very careless. So some insurance will just stay away from it. But then you had insurances that only took care of that. They'll cover those drivers that those cars that are on Uber, but they'll charge you like a slightly higher amount. So they had that, and when the cars are in an accident, you submit your claim if it's genuine, and then they pay you out.
Interesting. Now, the current business, which involves travel,
Yeah.
how did it start, and exactly what is the game plan?
The current business is unique to Africa. I do not know if to qualify it as a business, but how did it start?
Is it more of a passion
It is a passion.
or both? A business and passion?
We can put both together.
Yeah.
Because business will come in later. But it started because I think this started a long time ago. I've always traveled. I've traveled almost all of the Middle East. I have been to a lot of African countries, Europe,
America,
not yet.
South America,
Not yet.
Australia.
Australia, yes. New Zealand, yes. Belgium.
So you have been to every continent except North and South America.
Correct. Yeah. So I have traveled quite extensively, especially Africa and Middle East, and also part of I think it's East Asia.
Yeah.
Because I've also been to Nepal.
Yes.
I was flying one time to India, and we couldn't land because of
fog.
Yeah, because of the fog, and they asked us to land in Nepal
Mm.
for about 1 hour or so. So when I got to Nepal, the authorities said, "Oh no, you don't need a visa to be in Nepal."
Mm.
So I said, "Okay, then I don't need to be in India. You
Mm.
guys are the same people,
Yeah.
same face, same food. I'll spend the holiday here."
Yeah.
So so I ended up spending the holiday there,
Yeah.
and I was there for like a week.
Yeah.
But because I traveled so much, and I was doing it for pleasure
Mm.
and not really documenting it. A lot of my friends, they said, "Look, you can actually have what you're
You
doing
go.
documented."
Yes, you go with the family.
Sometimes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've traveled, especially with my wife.
Mm.
We've covered a few countries together.
Mm.
Um, can't remember. I think Kenya, Dubai. We've been to Cameroon a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is a Cameroonian now somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've traveled. We've done a few trips together and the kids.
Mm.
And yeah, so I decided, let me actually just document what I'm doing, put it
Mm.
out there, and I love talking.
Mm.
And I thought, why don't you tell people what you see?
Mm.
I was in Botswana today, and I was almost harassing people. Like, tell
Yeah.
me about Botswana, tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And this mama ass is like, "Hey, Ate, why are you putting this thing in my face?"
Yeah.
So I said, no, it's off, it's paused.
Yeah.
If you give me permission, I'll put it on.
Mm.
Oh, okay, buy my stuff.
Mm.
So I said, I'll take a groundnut
Yeah.
for 5 puller.
Yeah.
So I took groundnut for 5 puller. I says, okay, record me. What do you want?
And then you
So
get a beautiful story.
yeah, so we had a nice conversation there. So yeah,
So the focus is on what? African culture or just intercultural? What is the focus of the? Because it seems like it's a travel vlog,
yeah,
video blog with a video.
yes,
But what is the focus of your travel vlog
okay,
or pod? It's also a podcast.
yes. This is what is in my mind, and as I go along, I will then. I do have something planned, but at the moment, I want to go around the continent and talk to entrepreneurs. I want to know what they are doing. I also want to connect them to other entrepreneurs that are doing the similar things that they are doing
In other parts of
in
Africa.
other parts of Africa.
Mm.
I want to be able to give them exposure so that if an entrepreneur is sitting somewhere and he has a book that he is writing, but he doesn't know how to write it,
Mm.
there is someone that can help him with script writing.
Mm.
If there is a child that is sitting in a remote village in Lalibela in Ethiopia,
Mm.
and he has come up with this small business plan, he knows that this plan is going to work,
Mm.
and he wants someone to scale it for him and monetize it.
Mm.
There is someone in Africa that can watch it and say, hey, I can invest in this business.
Mm.
I want a child that has learned how to develop something in Congo, a specific recipe
Mm.
in Congo, and he thinks that Africans are eating KFC and McDonald's, but he wants to have a franchise all over Africa with it. Food from Congo,
Yeah, healthy food.
healthy food from Congo, right? I want an African to identify this child through my channel and say, we can get this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come to a point where when I arrive in Botswana, the first sign I see is not KFC,
Mm.
where we encourage Africans to have seswar
Mm.
displayed, which is a Botswana diet,
Mm.
displayed in an airport in Tanzania.
Mm.
I want Africans to have a design,
Mm.
an outfit,
Apparel, yeah.
yes,
Mm.
that is unique to Africans,
Mm.
so that they don't promote Nike, they don't promote and not promote Amakosa,
Mm.
which is a South African brand, which is traditional.
Mm.
I want us to be
That
proud
would be great to promote that one.
Yes, I want us to be proud of the things that we have,
Mm.
and not be proud to say I ate KFC or McDonald's, which is unhealthy, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I have seen the process of making seswar. It's healthy. I was in the Damawe festival, and I saw how fresh beef is slaughtered and roasted and boiled, and you can see there is nothing added to it.
Yeah.
I want us to be able to,
tastes,
I want us to export that from Botswana to Tanzania to Nigeria, to Cameroon, so that Africans enjoy their own products. Now, the final goal of this is I want to create a market from an online store where Africans can shop for their own products. I saw a beautiful horn today, a cow horn, nicely decorated by an African woman. And there is someone that is sitting in the Transkei in South Africa today. They have those horns and they throw them in the bush. They don't know that they can decorate it and make it look as what that mama had today, and export it to Europe.
So through exposing what this mama has done,
Yes,
the gentleman or in Transkei will then be inspired.
that will inspire him to say, I have been throwing these things away. I can actually use this. I can monetize this. I can make money from this.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of things. I learned that I can't remember what country is that. They make pap. Like what Cameroonians will call fufu.
Yeah.
The one you eat with seswa, right?
Yeah.
They make it from plantain.
So they tasted that. It's very juicy.
I've never tasted it, and Cameroon has.
There's a restaurant in Senton which offers that. I've tasted it. It's brilliant.
I have never tasted that.
Yeah.
Never ever. And Cameroon, actually, in my father's farm, we have plantain there that sometimes was not even planted. It just grows wild. So there is a child that is sitting in my village that has all this plantain that can transform it to flour and export it to other African countries, but they just don't know. I want them to understand these things, and then they can actually better their lives, become industrial, become entrepreneurs, and export these products all over the world. Even here in Botswana, I don't know. I think I saw it in Limpopo one time, where you have they call it Mopanya worms, which is now being processed and exported all over South Africa.
Yeah.
In Cameroon, we have the same thing, and when we show it to other Africans, they think that we are cannibals for eating that.
Yeah.
It is our culture. We should have those things exported. We should have them sent to all the different countries in Africa.
Having said that,
Yeah.
are there any exceptional experiences or highlights that you wish to share with my viewers that we can find in your channel?
Yes. I will have to think a little bit further to give an example. I have opened a window for Africans to think that running an Airbnb, which is a Western concept, is not unique to them. I spoke to a lady in Namibia called Frida, who owns 40 rooms in an Airbnb today, and it started from a bedroom in her father's house.
Explain that to me.
She saw an ad on Facebook, and she thought, I can start this. So she took that one bedroom house and she put it on Airbnb, because Airbnb just advertised on Facebook. And then I think a week after she advertised it, she had guests to host. And then few days after that, I think she forgot to turn it off to say these guests are going to be here for this number of days. And then she had another booking, but those guests were still there. And she thought, oh no, she had to quickly email Airbnb and say, no, you can't send those people here because this place is already booked for X number of days. So this is one of the most viewed broadcasts that I had. And I've received a lot of emails from viewers asking me, how do you go about it? Because I was saying, as an African, I'm living in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom house. You don't need to own properties to own an Airbnb. You can ask your friends that have free rooms in their houses to put their houses on Airbnb. These guests, they just come in, they stay for a few days and they leave, and you make money from it.
Yes.
And now, whether they come in or not, you still have to pay utilities for this house. If you are renting it, you still have to pay rent. If it's a bond, you still have to pay your mortgage. So put it on Airbnb, even if it brings in just 300 pula, That is money that you never had, that you've
Mhm.
made.
Mm.
So go around, don't complain about no jobs.
Mm.
Go out there, speak to house owners, find out from
Be
them.
innovative.
Yes,
Yeah.
find out from them how many you've got this house here. It's in
Mm.
central Botswana. How many spare rooms do you have in this house? Let's put it out there, and
Mm.
I will have a cut from this. We can go on a 50-50, or you can
Yeah.
take 7. And before you know it, you will be managing a lot of properties
Yeah.
in Botswana, but you own none.
Mm.
So that is just one
Mm.
example that I can share from what I've been doing so far.
There's a gentleman who's had a lot of viewers. I can't remember his name. He's from Ghana. Is
Okay.
it Ode,
Wodemaya.
Wademaya?
Yes.
Is it like a template that you're learning from what he's done?
Um Look, I don't want his viewers to fight me, but I enjoy what he's doing,
Mm.
and it's phenomenal. He
Mm.
is promoting Africa,
Mm.
which is very good. I didn't get a template from him. This is a product of my own imagination.
Yes.
I have always wanted to travel,
Mm.
and which I've been doing, I think, sometimes before Wademaya became mature.
Mm.
And I have a different angle to this. I am exposing African businesses.
Yes.
Wademaya is a Pan-Africanist like myself.
Mm.
So what he's doing is very encouraging. He's trying to bring Africans
Because
back to the
he's
continent.
already shifting him and programs like this. They're already slowly uplifting and shifting the consciousness.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
moving from a culture of helplessness or seeing things happen, other
Yeah.
cultures doing things, to a culture where now we're saying, there's enough of us who are doing this.
Yes.
There's enough. Every time you go home and you're shaving or you're eating, whatever it
Yes.
is you put on, there's enough of it.
Yes.
Somebody's starting an estate here.
Yeah.
Somebody's putting up a building here.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a videography business like my friend here who's
Absolutely.
shooting this.
Yes.
So these things are doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, what Modemaya is doing is phenomenal, and exposing Africa and putting Africa on the map can never ever be enough. We had 400 years of being brainwashed that we are dumb, we are useless, we can't do anything better. So if we have
Slavery plus colonization.
yes,
Yeah.
it was a lot of years, and when people say get over it, it doesn't cut it. We cannot get over it. We while we
Not
trying,
overnight.
yes, it will not happen overnight, which is why I'm saying Wodemaya has set a trend which is beautiful. And Africans should not say that I can't do this because Wodemaya is doing it already.
No.
Wodemaya, if he came to Botswana,
We need 100,
we
thousands of
need
other Mayas.
thousands or millions,
Of
because
other
we
Mayas.
need to put the continent out there. I mean, he has brought in hundreds and thousands of Africans back to Africa, even not physically but mentally. They are sitting
Well, I
in
know
Europe.
of African Americans who've
relocated, yes.
or who've located to Africa,
Correct.
because of what they saw.
That's correct. And also, even the ones that have not relocated, they are considering that. So there has been a
they're
mental
opening their
shift.
mindset, yeah.
Yes, there's a mental shift from Europe is better, America is better, to Africa is my home. These people live in America and Europe in matchbox houses. We have space here that can,
Yeah.
I mean, when they come here, they can see that what they've been sold is actually
wrong.
as we say in South Africa, it's Hong Kong. It's not true.
Yeah.
What they've been given is, we are blessed people.
Yeah.
Africans are powerful, and we must never shy away from that.
Okay. Now, as you come towards a conclusion, do you think you can summarize your business philosophy in terms of secret for success and what you've discovered, so that somebody sitting out there can learn from you? So, based on your experience as a businessman, these are the key ingredients based on your experience.
First of all, I want to thank you, because you said we're going to the conclusion. I want to thank you first of all for giving me this platform. because when I arrive any country or all the countries that I will be traveling to, I try to meet someone of influence, um, in their own way, in their own little way, the influence that they command. And I was sitting somewhere and your name just popped up, but it popped up with a lot of gravity from all the corners where we were sitting.
Yeah.
And they said, you have to meet this guy, you have to meet this guy. So when I went through your profile, I said, it's not going to happen, but I can push things sometimes. And when I called you, after getting your number, I saw the person that I want to be. Someone that is very successful, but that is also very humble. Because you didn't hesitate to meet me almost immediately. Because when I spoke to you, we met about 4 or 5 hours later.
Yeah.
That is not something that happens every day. And this is one thing that I would like to see Africans do. Because when we sitting up there, we always think that
You become prima donnas.
yeah, yes, exactly. There is a saying in Africa that when you, I can't quote it word for word or verbatim, but when your brother is on top of a ripe mango tree, you should expect to eat the best harvest from the bottom. Whether you climb that tree or not, your brother is there. He will throw them to you. You showed me that, because that is what leadership should be.
Thank you.
But now to come to the question that you asked, a lot of people would think, why are you answering or responding to this question? Because we haven't seen your achievement in the area of business, but I have.
Well, I'm sorry, I've just seen it. You just explained it to me.
Yes, I have achieved it. Like I said, in my own right, I have made good money. I've made good strides in business, so I can speak in the area that I managed at the time. And what kept me going was discipline, it was resilience, and it was the thought that you cannot fail. Because the moment you think that you're not able to do this, you will not be able to do it. I started this journey of traveling Africa with a zero budget. But when I looked at the map of Africa and I saw that you can move from one country to the other on a bus, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
I said, okay, why can't I start with Southern Africa, where I can cross to one country to the other without paying for visas, without paying for a flight, which is quite expensive. And I thought, let me start it. And I remember I sent my wife a text and I said, I am in Worcester now. That was my first trip. I'm in Worcester now. Everyone is going out of the bus to get something to eat, but I am holding on to my 50 rand because I'm waiting for a client to make a payment. So I cannot play with this 50 rand until that payment comes through.
Wow.
So
you're really bootstrapping it. You're doing it on a shoestring budget.
Yeah, very much so. And I must say, the people that I've been meeting, they've been very, very amazing. I got offered a very, very discounted accommodation, in almost free, in Namibia, just by the people that I spoke to. There is this other old mama that told me that please do not go hungry here. Whenever you need to eat, please just come around. And I said, I will hold you to that. And I didn't have an occasion to go back because I got offered as I went along.
It's called Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yes.
Yeah,
Ubuntu, Ubuntu Kabantu.
Yes.
Man is a man because of another man.
Yeah.
So that is what we have as Africans. And I have seen that. But I have to say, the one that I have had in Botswana, I cannot measure it. It is not scalable. If you try to measure it, you will fail.
I was going to ask you about your impressions about our country.
It's been wonderful. But let me tell you, the police have not been very nice to me. But I think the police in every country are not nice.
Yeah. What? They thought...
like I told you, this is a whole different episode that I'm going to run about my friend that had a mental breakdown. So I have not covered as much as I was supposed to cover in Botswana because I've been taking care of him.
Yeah. You came
Um,
from outside with him, but he had a breakdown here.
yes, he had a mental breakdown here. As we speak now, he is at a mental hospital in Lubate, Sabrana. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I had to drop him off there, which is about 50 kilometers away from Gaborone or
Yes.
Gaborone.
Yeah.
So that has kind of left a dent in my
your
head,
psyche.
you know, in my psyche. Yes, that's correct.
Mm.
So every time I want to go forward, I'm held
How
back.
did the police treat you? How did they do?
Well, they have not been very accommodating. When you walk in there, in fact, I told the last guy that attended to me, I said to him, "You are the first person that has treated me as a human being." And I cannot equate this to the people of Zimbabwe, of Botswana, because what I've seen outside the police station,
it's very different from what
yes, the people have
Yeah.
they have opened their arms to me.
Yeah.
They have welcomed me, and I don't know, but I got to a point one time that they took me to a hospital. I think is it Miranda Hospital? It's a clinic actually.
Princess Marina.
Princess
Hospital.
Marina, yeah. They took me there. I think they had instructions to bring me back because I had to go get a form from that hospital after the evaluation of my friend, and also I had to leave from there to to the district commissioner's office.
Yeah.
And they just dropped me there. I'm in Tlokwen. I live in block 5. I don't have my wallet. I don't have any cash on me.
You shouldn't travel without a wallet.
I was supposed to go to their office very early in the morning, so I left in a rush.
No, I see.
And I forgot everything because I thought if I'm not there on time, they'll use that as an excuse to not take him there.
Okay.
So I made sure I was there on time, but now I left without carrying those things.
Yeah.
And they just said, now we are too busy. You figure it out.
Yeah.
So I left there. I went
the
to.
good thing about them is they told you smiling. They were not rough.
No. They were smiling.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I went with them to Lubate, and my friend was checked in and everything. The nurse said to us, guys, you need to go get him. We've got toiletries, everything for him. But just go to the shopping mall and get him a pair of flip-flops. And what was the other thing? And deodorant.
Yeah.
Because they go to the gym, they play soccer and all that. Beautiful institution, wonderful people I met there. The staff and everything. We were happy, smiling, going up and down. So the police said, yes, it's just here next door. When we got out, going to the shopping mall is left. Those brothers just turned right and they boom. And they were driving like
and you tried to remind them.
You can't remind them, they can't even hear you from the back. I was locked in the back of the van. And you know what? We got to this guy was in handcuffs, right? Because he can get a little bit, or he gets a little bit aggressive sometimes because he's not mentally stable.
Yeah.
And we got to the hospital and the doctor said, take the cuffs off. They forgot the cuffs in Gaborone.
Or they forgot the key to
the key. Yeah. They forgot the key to the cuffs.
Yeah.
So we had to drive to the prison to go get the keys.
Yeah.
So I said, brother, you guys are taking me to places that I don't want to be. I didn't come here for this.
Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
What for Elvis?
Yes.
Ndimba as a brand. What does the next 2 decades hold for you, and for Unique to Africa as a brand? Talk about these 2 brands.
Okay. For me, I want to connect to as many Africans as I can, but I also want to take these Africans that I connect to, who are people of influence, and use them as a bridge to helping other Africans. I want to be the go-to person that can connect young entrepreneurs who are looking for opportunities either to travel and invest in other countries. I want to be able to say, here is the person that you need to speak to when you go here. This is the direction to follow. This is the guy that can help you with this. For Unique to Africa, I want us to get to a point where we are proud of our own brands. Where Botswanans are able to celebrate Botswana. Like we've started. There is brand Botswana where they promote. But I want us, if I leave from here and I go to Togo, I want to come out of the plane or out of the bus and I see Libelebele.
Yeah, lebelebele.
You know, standing there with the full
Seswa,
picture,
the-
Seswa, standing there at the airport with a
Yeah.
big billboard.
Yeah.
And we don't have to eat all the Western food. I want us to be proud of our own brands, our shirts, because this cotton comes from us and it's processed there and sold back to us. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to get to a point where we are proud of our brands. We sell them with our own conditions. We don't have to ask people
so
from.
you think at some point when you get to maybe 100 or 500,000 or 1 million views, that reality will come about?
It will. I have projects that I've written where we will not have our TVs playing Cocomelon. Our TVs should sing our own rhythm. Our kids should listen to our own traditional songs, showing our emblems, showing our symbols. Like we want to see the things that are unique to Botswana shown in our own African songs on TV. I want us to get to a point where the dolls that we have, they look like Africans.
Yeah. So really unique to Africa and Elvis Ndimba. It's one brand, the way I get it.
We are
The two are intertwined.
unique to Africa is Elvis, and Elvis is unique to Africa.
All right.
So you can't separate. It's inextricable.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
take one away from the other.
All right. Time for you to ask me a question, sir.
Okay. You actually took me off guard, but let me think about something.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because I keep saying influential, I keep saying humble, I keep giving all these different descriptions. Just one question: who is Mr. Bohobe?
Well, son of the soil,
Okay.
one who wants to inspire, wants to energize, one who wants to infuse, one who wants to empower,
Okay.
one who wants to leave an indelible mark, having to do with servant leadership. One who is a product of two cattle posts, one who happens to be a headman in Muduganele ward,
Okay.
one who's an African to the core, one who loves the hills, who loves the soil, who loves Africa to the core, to the extreme extent.
Yeah.
One who wants to see us succeed, one who wants to see us prosper. Mohobi itself literally means pond.
Yes.
Pond means water point where the fish and the tadpoles and the frogs enjoy themselves, both and then animals come and derive water there, people come and derive water there. So a place of unique sustenance or special sustenance for the community. So Mohobe wants to be able to contribute to creating an ecosystem
Right.
for entrepreneurial excellence, and even in while acknowledging his imperfections,
Yeah.
is striving to empower others. That's Mohobe.
That's great. If you would allow me, I picked it up. That you are a true African, and I'll tell you why. You probably didn't notice when we spoke the first time, and you were giving examples of the places where Africans can do business and all that. You mentioned countries like Ghana, which is normal,
Yeah.
but you also mentioned Nigeria, which is not fashionable to a lot of people. Because a lot of people don't realize the potential that Nigeria has.
It's huge.
It's very huge, and for that reason, they don't want to associate with Nigeria. I see Nigeria as
It's a mistake, by the way.
It's a huge mistake.
We don't think we're not like that in Botswana. One of our leading banks is Nigerian.
I saw that Access Bank.
Yeah. But
so the fact that you mentioned that, I was actually very happy because most of the times when you, not because I have any business in Nigeria, not because I have relatives in Nigeria, but I hate the fact that Africans sometimes try to dissociate themselves from Nigeria because this one person committed a crime, he's from Nigeria, it makes
Everybody
everybody,
actually,
which
yeah,
is not
yeah.
how it's supposed to be.
No.
So when you mentioned that, for me it was just the epitome of your Africanness,
Yeah, yeah.
and I just hope and wish that you keep it in the same way.
One of
And
my mentors from a distance is actually a guy called Tony Emelume. Emelume.
I know him.
I know him from a distance,
I
but
know him from Twitter.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I have other heroes from there.
right.
Chinua Achebe,
Yes.
the musician Sally
Keita. No, no.
Keita, Sudan. But there's another one who is passed on. Yeah, yeah. And I know. I think you know who I'm talking about. But really, the fact that Nigerians are one. I think there was a statistics that says 1 in 6, if not 1 in 7, black people is a Nigerian. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's so you cannot condemn such a big section based on the the misdemeanors of 1 or 2 people. Yeah, yeah. All right. Now, as we conclude, you have to look into this camera, sir, and talk to our viewers and leave them with one powerful summary message that they can take home.
All right. Um, like my intro always goes, good evening, Africa. Dumelang, Africa. Um, it's been a pleasure to be on the channel. I would like to encourage Africans to promote Africa. I would love to have Africans, like each and every African, to be an ambassador of Africa. We should not be proud. We should not be ashamed of where we come from. We come from a very deep 400 years of being held captive, but we have managed to come out of that and we are doing so well. But we have not reached where we are supposed to be. So we need to support each other. We need to always send our hands where Africans are falling to lift them up. We need each other, and we need to understand that Africa is open. It's open for business, it's open for holidays. Let's try and visit every other African country as many times as we can and see the different business opportunities that we have. And remember, for you to have these exposures, you will need to be tied to Mohobe Nuggets and to Unique to Africa.
Mm.
These two channels will give you maximum exposure to the different places where you've never been to physically in Africa. We'll bring you the content, but we'll also show you opportunities that are there to make sure you strive. So once more, thank you for having me in Botswana, and I'll see you again as soon as I make time to come to Botswana. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Lastly, share all your handles and your contacts on social media and elsewhere.
All right. On Like I said already, on YouTube you can find us. It's Unique to Africa. The two would be TO in words. We've got a website where you can sell any product that you make with your hands. So if you do have a product that you want to sell across the continent, you can log on to www.uniquetoafrica.co.za. I'm sure Mr. Makobe will be kind enough to put it on the screen. So you can contact us. The website is uniquetoafrica.co.za. It's a two, the numeric. And we also have a Facebook page which is Unique to Africa, to the letters. And we also have a Twitter page, which is All Africa Connect. You can also find it on Unique to Africa. I think if you search that, it will also come up. I don't handle those, so I sometimes get lost with that. But very importantly, if you have a product in Botswana, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, wherever in Africa that you want this product to be bought, or you want to sell this product anywhere in Africa, please do reach out to us. We will have your product advertised on the Unique to Africa website for all other Africans to see and shop from our side.
Do you have a WhatsApp, an international WhatsApp number that you
Um,
want to share?
um, we have a WhatsApp link I cannot remember it by heart, but it is available on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Unique to Africa and it's two numeric.co.za,
Mm.
you will be able to reach out to us directly
On
on
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. And we also do have an email, which is ndimba at uniquetoafrica.co.za. So you're also welcome to send us an email. That will be my surname at unique, letter 2, africa.co.za.
Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful guest. You've done a
Thank
great
you
job.
so much.
I really appreciate Elvis. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was
All
a
right.
pleasure. Yeah.
Okay.